Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Well, yesterday there's this meeting of big men, Obasanjo, IBB, Abdul Salami, Abubakar, all of them over in IBB's house, and it was because of their concern over the president's health. Well, the First Lady has tweeted that my husband is in good health. By way of just balancing that out. But the fact that those big wigs have thought it was right to meet over their concern over the health of the president, I guess that sort of throws it up to the top of the pile. There are those who are saying that, like anybody else, anybody on earth, you can be under the weather. But then there are those who are saying that, well, this is a bit more than under the weather according to their speculation. Then there are those who are saying that all of this problem is because of the secrecy surrounding the health issues of the president. So we have that scenario, and we'll look at it today. When former presidents or former leaders of the country get together to express their concern, even though nobody was allowed at that meeting, so it's not as if we know what exactly the conclusion was or what they want, but it has happened. Not everybody is happy with it. My guest, first of them, is Major Debo Bashorun, retired. He's a security consultant. Thank you very much for coming on, Major.
Good morning, Nigeria.
Indeed. Let's start. Did it surprise you a bit? You have men of this timber and caliber, former President Obasanjo, former military president IBB, former head of state Abdul Salami Abubakar, all of them meeting at IBB's place because of their perceived concern over the president's house against, and when you look at this, against the First Lady tweeting very, very shortly after that, not only is my husband not as bad as it is thought, he's actually back at his desk, and he met yesterday with not just the Attorney General of the Federation, but the GMD of NNPC.
One could understand a little bit if this were a military regime, but now we're in a democracy. And I think the information management that has been coming out of the villa has not been professional enough, from my little knowledge of what information management is all about.
And you have worked there in the past with IBB.
I've been there, I've done that. So what I'm saying here is that the way they've been handling the information flow coming out of the villa is not very professional. Here is a human being who is the leader of the nation, who is sick. Everybody knew, everybody knows, everybody knows he's sick up to this present moment because there are some state functions he has not been able to attend. And what is the reason behind, hiding the facts to the nation? If he's sick, he's sick. He's a human being. We've got people of 20 years, 30 years dying off for one disease or the other. This is a man of 74. So if he's sick, what's the big news about it? Except there's something sinister that I think is happening behind the scenes.
Well, we don't know more than we are told by his handlers in the villa. But they have constantly said it is not a cause for concern, that, as you have said, anybody can fall ill. And they've been steadfast on that line. And this is against the perception out there by those who think that it could be very, very serious. In fact, they've gone as far as saying that on health grounds, he might consider stepping down. So maybe all of this talk is not entirely, it just isn't on, and it's a bit confusing.
I think about the only credible person issuing out statements about President Buhari's health now is the wife. There's tendency for people to believe her because of her antecedents.
Which is a bit unusual.
Very unusual.
For the First Lady to step in and have to say something like she has tweeted, that my husband is well, he's not as bad as, my husband is in good health. This would ordinarily have been the province of the secretary to the government or some other public official, but that she is having to come out like this? Maybe it's because there's fatigue on the part of the handlers who have said the same thing over and over and over again.
And the public is becoming skeptical about a statement coming out of that area now. I mean, from the professionals who are supposed to handle the information flow very well. And I can bet you a majority of Nigerians are starting to have second thoughts about the statement they are issuing. I think that's why the wife of the president had to come in, because it's about the only person with the credibility now that we Nigerians can latch onto and say, well, this is a woman who can tell us the truth.
It's quite a mix out there. There's so many reports out there. Popularly known as Baba Condé, for instance, he has spoken of, he's been quoted in the press as saying that he wept over President Buhari's health. Arewa Consultative Forum have been quick to come back and say we are very, very disappointed with that statement. In fact, they carpeted him. That what the presidency and the president in particular needs now is the goodwill and the prayers of all right-thinking Nigerians. Maybe because of the situation in the country, especially those who are still sore that he won the election, their thoughts might not be the most positive, and it's not everybody that is wishing the president well. And do we need to factor that in? Well,
you can see that politics is gradually creeping in now. For Arewa to have issued such a statement means it's like trying to say, well, these are tough, you shouldn't come in. Mr. Condé has mentioned what is true about the president. If there is nothing to hide, let the president come out and speak to the nation. It's just as simple as that. And for these three big men to have gone to have had a meeting, I want to believe that Nigerians will wake up now.
But isn't it interference for those three big men? Isn't it some sort of an interference for those three big men to have this meeting? Because by tradition, former presidents don't usually take center stage on issues concerning a sitting president.
But remember that these are the trio are members of the group that has run this country down. They still want to latch on to power. That's what it means. They want to be seen as somebody controlling the shots and everything, which is unfortunate for Nigerians. The youth of this country, the middle-aged people, they should wake up. They should wake up. They should not allow these people to continue controlling this country. Their meeting to me is irrelevant, because Nigerians, they demand, they are putting on their president is that we want to know what the status of the health is, and we reserve the right to know. We want to know, and we shall know.
Well, indeed, that is right. As you say, there are all sorts of political tangents that are being attached to this. On the one hand, there's the Arewa Consultative Forum quickly coming in and saying, let's not go that far. We're very, very disappointed. And as you said, it might just be because, hey, this is one of ours. You know, it might just be that. It might not. On the other hand, people are increasingly saying that the president should follow up on an idea that he muted, that Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, you know, a young, virile man, the intellectual part to it, the law part to it, and all of that. I thought that at one time there was talk about he will be doing more of the work. I will be the boss still and be doing the strategic and the direction and all of that kind of a thing. What do you think of that idea? And do you think we've seen any practical application of that yet?
Well, we wouldn't say the vice president is that young. He's in his 60s now.
Well, relative to
the
Baba.
President. But the fact remains that that has always been the case. The president is the overall boss, and if he decides to do certain things on his own, he has the right to do it. But to delegate powers has been the normal thing in every organization, in the military, in the ministry, everywhere. The boss supervises. So it's not necessarily compulsory that the president should do everything. He can give directives, and the vice president will implement them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's go on a break now. When we come back, we'll include your calls as well. Stay with us, please. Welcome back, and we're looking at the meeting held yesterday by, a trio of Nigerian bigwigs, former presidents, former leaders of Nigeria, Obasanjo, IBB, and Abdul Salami, all of them meeting up in Minna at IBB's house. And the reason for the meeting was their concern, we are told, over the president's health. Not that there was any correspondent allowed at the meeting or that any statement was made afterwards, but the fact that those kind of people are meeting, and we've been joined, Major Debo Basharon has been joined by Barrister Tony Ofoyetan, DG International Institute of Professional Security. Thank you very much for coming on, Tony.
Thank you. Good morning.
How concerned are you that men of this caliber are meeting, all of them former leaders, are meeting in the house of one of them over their perceived impressions on the state of health of the president? That matter about former presidents taking center stage in the matters of a sitting president. What do you think about that?
Well, to me, it's more or less like playing the role of elders in a nation. Except for
not interference.
Well, you know, the interference is not always a direct interference. It's not a direct interference because we have constitution. Don't forget that we had a similitude of Yaradua's, the peak of his ailment. And it also speaks volume to us that beyond the information that we hear on radio, newspaper, and programs like this.
And from his handlers.
Yes, they have first-hand information. For the three generals to gather together, it means that it's not as simple, as simplistic as the information managers of the presidency have been presenting it to you and I. That's the implication. Ordinarily, the three former presidents will not gather together on the ailment of feverish condition, maybe headache, stomach ache, and all those stuff like that. If you ask me, I will tell you that it is something that is, between life and death, for them to gather together and say, look, we need to look at the situation. But having said so, the question will now be of what relevance is such gathering when the provision of the Constitution is so clear.
And when the president actually resumed at his desk and performed a couple of official functions, met with the Attorney General, met with the GMD. The First Lady tweeted that my president is not as bad as people are making out. I don't know if the generals did him a service or a disservice.
No, you see, the fact that we are told that the president resumed duty, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not too excited about it. I see those things as just propaganda. I'm sorry, I'm talking of me as a person. And the reason is simple. When the president was in the United Kingdom, the information we had was that he's expected to stay there properly for a longer period of time for him to be properly taken care of. But those who are interested in the booty that surrounds presidency, and they know that once the president is not there, they are not able to get what they want, they would have, packaged this man back home to come and maybe be receiving treatment at home and all those stuff like that. You know what it means for the president of a country to meet two consecutive executives. It's not a usual thing, except it's out of the country on official ground. But talking about health, it's not a usual thing, because that is one of the most important meetings any president will attend.
Okay, you're talking about the Federal Executive Council meeting.
Thank you, Federal Executive Council meeting. So it's not as if the fact that we are told that the president came and attended to one or two people, the normal thing is that having attended to those people, he should speak with the press.
Indeed. Well, yeah, I think there's no escaping that. The president has not address the people frontally on all the speculation going on. But he has said that, quite honestly, that he's never been that sick in his life. He said that back in the day. But the president's wife is saying that my husband is in good health. You were saying earlier, that that's probably the only person we can believe now. She would tell it like it is, and if it wasn't like that, she probably wouldn't say that. But all of this, I wonder if it sort of would begin to weaken the hand of the president, who has very, very many important things to do. There's the whole Boko Haram campaign we're running. There's the whole anti-corruption fight we're running. There's the whole governance issue. There's the economy. And, you know, all of these stories are not necessarily enhancing the presidency.
Well, for somebody who is in good health, in perfect health, that may be true. But this is a situation whereby everybody, at least 90% of Nigerians, are very much aware that this man is sick. To what degree, most of us don't know. But if it were not something that is on the side of maybe very sick, I mean, all this misinformation that has been coming out from the villa shouldn't have been coming out, because I regard it as a misinformation. They should be able to hit the nail on the head. If the president is sick, he's a human being. There's nothing to hide about it. I could remember during General Babangida's time as the president of this country, he was away for months.
Yes, that
radiculopathy
thing.
Yeah.
You know.
And you know, the heavens didn't fall. This gentleman can, you know, can take a leave of absence and accept that we want to politicize it. And what I mean by that is the statement, you know, credited to the
Arewa Consultative
no,
Forum.
Somebody shouldn't say somebody
that Baba Conde was carpeted for saying that he wept at the state of the health of the president.
Of the statement, what it means. Why the defense? They don't work in the Aso Villa. They should have allowed the people who are working directly with this head of state, president, to issue out a statement, rebutting it or something.
Meanwhile, all of this, you know, it's sort of distracting from the actual business of governance. Now, all sorts of people, a lot of people are hung up on the president's state of health. On the one hand, there are those who are thinking it might be a dire situation. On the other extreme, we're hearing that no, it's not as bad as well. We don't know what to believe. As we have observed, the president hasn't held a, you know, one of those meetings where you meet the nation, that kind of a thing, nor has he said anything beyond what he said earlier, that he had never been this sick in his life, for which he was credited. That at least now we're hearing it, never mind what his handlers have said, but now going from there seems to be a problem. Mr. George in Ikeja wants to join the conversation. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in, Mr. George.
Uncle Yori, in African setup, people used to wish a sick person well. I'm not aware that before you wish anybody well, or you wish your neighbor well, the neighbor must tell you the type of ailment he has before you can say, oh, sorry, I wish you well. One thing has to be understood. Many of those who are calling for what kind of ailment does he have, they do not mean well. They have a hidden agenda behind it. So if the president handlers or his relations are skeptical about disclosing the information, it is because of what they perceive as what lies behind it. Because whatever lies behind anything you say or do is what counts, not really what you are saying or what you are doing. Look at the people that are saying we want to know. Just look at look at them. They are the ones who have been opposing the president from day one. They want a situation where you can say, oh, he's no longer capable, he's not healthy. Let us get rid of him. That is why you see the resistance, not that the truth is not known. And then the generals that are meeting, I'm afraid, even those of them that are meeting over the head of Mr. President, some of them are more sick than the president. If it is born out of love, what they are doing is not born out of love. If it was born out of love and concern for the health of the president, why was the meeting held in Mina? They have free access to the State House to go and meet him and say, oh, sorry, we heard this is what is happening. How do we handle this? All the corruption news, all the revelations, all the loot that have been discovered in recent times, why have they not met over it and say, oh, this country, something is going on, how do we go about it? That should tell you that it is not out of love they are doing what they are doing. In my view, the president should shun a greedy state and mischief makers and go for further treatment. After all, he has a vice president that is loyal, that is capable, and that can be relied upon. He should just simply do that and forget about all this one. This is my view. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr.
Let me just say something very quickly.
Sure.
You know, as it is now, what is happening in this country to me is just a symptom of a failing society, wherein we rove around an individual. In other developed society, irrespective of the health of the president, the system is working. Now, that simply means that you needn't wait for whether the president is healthy or is ill. Because as it is now, it's as if Nigerians are like, if anything happened to, God forbid, anything happened to the president, the country will collapse. No, it doesn't work like that. I think we should begin to strengthen and, you know, institutionalize, build strong institutions devoid of individuals. Now we are agitated that 3 of the principalities in this country are meeting. Why are we agitated? We are agitated because we felt that they can take a decision that would either be for or against us, or that would truncate the heart of the Constitution. And that is why some of us are agitated. But if we build a society wherein is devoid and, you know, detached from individual, the issue of the health of the president will not be a national issue.
But that's a future tense issue. We don't have such a society now,
I am just hoping and praying for it.
Stay with us, please. We'll take a quick break. Be right back. Welcome back. We're looking at the heating up of the polity, you know, with the whole conversation and actions and meetings over the president's health. We understand that Mr. Abba has been holding on for a long while. Thank you very much, Mr. Abba. Good morning.
Good morning, Ankiori.
Please go ahead now.
Ankiori, no cause for alarm, because we know him, General Buhari, and the same person from past president. And I assure you, if that man is not capable to run this country, he go resign and give him advice. Only these are politicians. They run up and down. They look for a way they play their politics. But you have to give him the benefit of doubt. But we need to, first of all, let's pray for him, for the man. Let's be in good health. Thank you very much. And
okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling in. By the way, the First Lady has actually just phoned into the station. She must be watching, and she says that actually she's been misquoted in the press, that she has not said what our caption is saying, which is that my husband is in good health, as some of the press has reported it. But what she has said is that her husband's condition is not as bad as portrayed, as is being portrayed. Not as bad as is being portrayed, which is not quite the same thing as my husband is in good health, which you will see on the front pages of some of the newspapers. Thank you, First Lady, for clarifying that issue. So the First Lady has said that, and this seems to give an indication to it that, look, with the First Lady calling in personally to say that I didn't say what they said I said. What I did say is that my husband is not as bad as is being portrayed. Still goes back to the whole matter about his health is beyond a mere headache. You know, his health issue is beyond that of a mere headache. But it's that she says that it's not as bad as is being portrayed. And as we have seen that he has been able to do some of his functions. 2 meetings happened yesterday. What do you think?
Well, I think the whole thing boils down to information management again that I mentioned earlier. If those handlers who are, who are busy, who are running the press office of the president have been fair enough, they've been honest enough to tell the nation exactly what it is. But what is wrong in the president getting sick? I can't just get it. I can't just get it. The president is sick, so what? He's a human being. And the institution of governance is still there. We have the vice president, we have the staff officers there who will still carry on. But the way the people are trying to mismanage the information is creating, giving people sleepless nights about what is happening to our president.
And distracting from running the country, the whole business of running the country.
And before the First Lady could come on TV and say what you have said, I know she's a human being. She's the wife of the president, and she will feel concerned too. So all these people who have been mismanaging the information, they should go back and rethink of what damage they are doing to the government, to democracy as a whole.
Good morning, Mr. Usman.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
And good morning to your panel of guests there.
Good morning.
Yes. You see, Uncle Yori, the truth of the matter is that, yes, please. You see, the truth of the matter is that I don't see there's any cause for alarm regarding the health of the president. And if the wife of the president can come out and tell us that there are some cabals in that help the president, and Nigeria will believe that, then they should also believe that when she said that her husband is fine. It's not that bad as people are thinking of.
Yes.
And for those who are saying that he should disclose the real ailment that is worrying him, I see that they have an agenda. I want to concur 100% with the last caller, with Mr. George. Yes. That they have a hidden agenda. I am telling you, Uncle Yoru, and the hidden agenda is nothing but politics. If today, for instance, they said, Mr. President has ulcer, by tomorrow you will see it. You will see the politician that will carry that the Mr. President has terminal ill, he has ulcer. It has become a campaign slogan. So there is reason why, in fact, there is no need for telling us that this is what is wrong with Mr. President. We are told that the man is sick. The man is sick. He went to London. He came. He even told us that he did blood transfusion. So what else do you want? The only thing that we need to do now is to be praying, but not to be asking, what is wrong with you? Why is it done? We Nigerians, we don't want to know what is wrong with the president. We are only praying for him. The fact that he told us that he's ill is enough and enough. So any politician that wants to know so that he can use it as a campaign slogan, unfortunately that will not work. And I want to urge the presidency never to disclose what is wrong with him. We are told that he's not feeling fine. It's not feeling fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Usman. And what you've said probably in keeping with the whole routine business of medical confidentiality. People's medical records are not things that you put out there on the newspaper ordinarily. But some people are making the case, no, possibly that because he's the president, he's different. I don't know about that. But the whole issue of the health of the president that we are hearing very loudly from, I guess, not the largest sector of the country. I wonder what you think about the notion that it is those that are still sore over Mr. President winning this election and who have not been able to forgive him for that victory that are at the arrowhead of this campaign about he's incapable, let him step aside and let him do this. And most other people are just wishing him well, praying for him and hoping that he's going to come back and be at his seat. What's this whole business about? Somebody even went as far as saying that they should declare that the National Assembly should declare that there's a vacancy. So there's so much ill will.
Well,
from a vociferous minority, I would imagine.
The people holding the information, they are fueling the issue.
Okay.
They are putting fire to the petrol. There's nothing to hide about Mr. President being sick.
But that is not hidden. But that is not hidden. No, that is out there.
That's what I'm saying.
Mr. President is recovering.
Let me just come in.
The whole matter that Mr. President is recovering indicates that he's sick.
Let me come in. You see, the major agitation is basically that Mr. President has not been able to perform his official duties for some time.
Okay.
And that is the agitation there. Now that he is ill, like all of us agree, all of us here at one time or the other
have been ill.
Will be ill, and most likely will still be ill. We pray not to.
And we
now,
will
yes.
recover.
Now, but the fact remains that it's just like as you are here. If you are ill, you have a maximum period of time which TVC would allow the leverage of sick leave. Now, beyond that time, it's most likely like you are placed on temporary suspension, or somebody else. So
you want to place the president on temporary suspension
listen,
now? I understand.
Somebody else
I understand.
Listen, no.
I
I need to get now. Somebody else has to do that. But the issue is this. Mr. President not being able to do his job is what is bringing the agitation, not that the type of ailment is the main thing.
Okay.
And it's not also absolute to say that the people that are calling for his true state of health, they are the people that are aggrieved about what happened 2 years ago. And I think Nigeria has moved beyond that level.
Okay.
All of us are looking for how to make progress in this country.
Sure. And there are those who will debate the question, the statement about Mr. President not being able to do his job, but I understand what you mean. Mr. Abdullahi from Ogba, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, good morning. What I'm trying to say is this, concerning this three former president that held the meeting in Mina yesterday. Because among the three of them, they are the one that destroyed this country. And if you can look at them, we're hearing among three of them, and they have been seeking, one has been seeking for almost 3 to 4 years now. Has he told us the type of sickness that is worrying him? No, everybody wants to say, I believe that what the Quran and the Bible say that yes, we should pray for our leader. Are we Nigeria praying for our leader? We see somebody is sick. Okay, since when do I think that the Buhari is sick? If he has traveled for London for treatment and all this while, tell me, a lot of people have died. Those who are sick, some people who are sick, some people who are not sick, a lot of them have died. Life is in the hand of God now. So we cannot say that this, because of this man is sick, so he's about to die. These people will go and hold the meeting. These are the same people that destroy this country. The same Babangida introduced corruption. Then down to Obasanjo, down to Abdul Salam. All these people are the people that destroy this country. What type of meeting are they hold on the sitting president? They don't sit together and let us say, okay, let us pray for our leader. Let us pray for Sabarian to get well.
Sure.
So may Almighty Allah, may God help us. Because the way these people now want to come back, to come back, not to come and destroy this country again, the Almighty God will not allow them. Amen. That's the only prayer we have from them.
Thank you very much. Amen. Amen. Now, sorry. Going back to the three. Actually, depending. There's also, if you look at one of the papers, there's a fourth person in the picture. I think Otumba Oyewale Fashawe. All of them were at Babangida's.
No, that was Obasanjo's friend.
Obasanjo's friend.
Yes.
So he took his friend along. Okay. So there you go. These people meeting in this way. Mr. George observed that. Look, you guys have access. Why didn't all of you go have a meeting with the president?
Let me try and remind your audience exactly what I believe is happening now. You remember when, at the inception of this administration, General Obasanjo has been in and out of Villa.
Can you hold your thought, please? I beg you, because Reverend Dominic has come on the line. So let me not hold him up, and then I'll come straight back to you. Good morning, Reverend.
Good morning, Yuri. How are you?
Very well.
Let me tell you the agenda in the heat up in Niger State. Let me tell you the agenda. And that agenda and their fear is my own fear also. They got Obasanjo to ask him, how are we going to defect through the fellows a second time? You brought Yaradua and Good Luck for the turn of the north and the end to Good Luck from the south. Now you brought in again Buhari and Oshibajo. Now the threat is about to develop again. But that's the thoughts of men who are not statesmen. Like Tony said there, if we have an ideal nation, what should we think about the policies that move Nigeria forward? Who dies, who lives, should not make any sense to us. But because we don't have an ideal nation, the issue of who will be in power, who will control the wealth, is still in the mind of people who have looted this nation. But my fear is this, sir. If Buhari dies, corruption continues in Nigeria. Buhari should not die. That's my prayer. I voted for him, and I know this is not voted for him. And second one, Atinde is a very sick man. When a man sees a friend sick, people to sympathize with him. What is wrong with us in this nation? That when you say the truth, they turn it towards them. When I was sick sometimes, a person will come to me and pay my hospital bill. And I say I'm not well. That's a good Nigerian. Why should somebody be crucified for expressing what is truth? Buhari should not die. People who want him to die, people who want to bury money in mortuary, who want to bury money in their house, Buhari will not die. God hand will upon him. He will finish. But those one who want him to die, they will be disappointed. And if he die also, Nigeria will not die. Nation is not built on one man. It's built on principle. But Buhari should not die. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Dominic, and amen to your prayers. The man won't die, he will recover if it is the will of God. Okay, I got to go on a break, but I got a few seconds. When the president was away, the country was being run. There was still a lot of noise. It was still being run because that's the way these things have been planned. The systemic aspects of it that Tony was saying we need very, very sorely. We have that. There's a president, there's a vice president, there's an executive council, and all of that was deployed when the president was away. I don't know why there's this concern, because there still is, whatever the health of the president, there still is the business of governance. Reverend Dominic just said that nothing will happen to Nigeria. Nigeria will be for forever and ever. We're not concentrating on that. We're concentrating on what appears to be the distraction of the temporary illness of a mortal person. Let me go on a quick break and I'll come back and then we can go from there. Stay with us, please. Back and you know, still on the president's health and the meeting of the generals over it. There were 4 people in one of the front pages, so it's not just 3 generals. There also was Otumba Oyewole Fashawe, who we've been told is former President Obasanjo's bosom friend. So what was he doing in that? But anyway, we interrupted you. You were going to IBB, Abdulsalami, and Obasanjo.
What I was trying to say was that the public should cast its mind back to the advent of this administration. All of us could remember that General Obasanjo was in and out of the villa when Buhari moved in as the president. He was the errand guy for Buhari then. And then until Buhari had to make a remark about the corruption that has eaten deep, he did not sort of exonerate the regime of General Obasanjo. Obasanjo got very angry about it. And in his, I think he issued a statement to the effect that, well, his own regime was the best in the world. He was innocent, he was this, he was corrupt-free, which is not true. That's number 1. Number 2, everybody knows about my former boss, IBB. So I don't need to retell the story of what that administration was. Then as for General Abdulsalam, you could remember that he was a member of the Peace Committee or whatever it is. It's like they tried to sell the dummy to President Buhari, and he shoved them out. So you can see where they're coming from. The 3 of them are trying to sort of be relevant. The Constitution is there. If there's anything
but
to
in
be
fairness,
done,
President Obasanjo seems to be everywhere. He was at the Oni of Ife's inauguration. He's just everywhere. That is important.
I mean, they should go and rest.
Both local and abroad.
They should go and rest. Let our current leaders direct where we should go in this country. Let the ordinary people on the street contribute to what can make Nigeria greater. The ideas should go and sleep with them, please. Mr.
Shegun Bariga, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, my name is Mr. Shegun Kushano. Good morning, Uncle Yari.
Thank you very much for calling, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Shegun Kushano from Bariga.
Okay, we're glad to have you.
Yeah, to be candid, I'm amazed with the way we Nigerians think. What's the big deal in the president being sick? What's the big deal? Is there a big deal in that? There's no vacuum. Professor Oshibajo is doing well, and to come to think of it, and the president is doing his job. The wife has told us that her husband is okay.
Well, she's not. She has just corrected that her husband is not as bad as is being perceived. She used the words carefully. Is not as bad as is being perceived. Which is a long way away from my husband is in good health that a newspaper quoted on the front page.
Yes.
Okay, but thank you very much. The point he made, we're coming to you, Tony. There is no vacuum. So what's the whole hullabaloo about? What is it with us and the way we go? Yes, we're concerned we're human beings, and it's a natural thing because we're all human. But there is, in terms of the relevance of the president as he's the number one, there is a vacuum. These things have been so structured around the world that you've got a chairman, you have a vice chairman. You've got a president, you have a vice president. Just in case there is a need for a temporary, standing in. But we're looking away from the fact that there is no vacuum and the governance is going on, and we're concentrating on Mr. President's sick room.
I think there are many angles to it. There's the angle of those who feel that if the world is made to know that the president is this ill, that it makes the vice president's office more relevant, and attention is placed on his successes and that of the aides within that presidential department is de-emphasized. That is one angle to it. The other angle to it, of course, is the fact that everybody is trying to protect his or her means of livelihood, understanding very well that whosoever is in power becomes the cynosure of all eyes. Yes. And another thing is also the politics of play, that it has happened before, it will not happen. We will not allow it to happen again. Now that is a veritable power play, as it were. Now, whether we believe it or not, there are people that are already thinking positive and thinking negative. Now, in the event that it happened like that, will the vice president, is he going to be taking over? Would we allow him to take over?
So there are all these concerns going on.
Whether we like it or not.
And Nigeria doesn't seem to be the main focus of everything.
So it's not as if, yes, there's no vacuum, but in the heart of those that emphasize the ailment, there's already a vacuum.
Okay, one moment, please. Mr. Ayo in Surulere. Good morning, sir.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
The gentleman in the studio.
Good morning, sir.
Reverend Dominic has actually spoken mainly the truth about Nigeria's issue. I strongly believe that the issue is we have a northern leadership. If anything happens to Mr. President, leadership comes to the south. Some key elements of the north do not want this to happen. And it is not about Nigeria's interest. It is about either the northern interest, the southern interest. And it's so sad. Governance is so wide. You have governors, you have local government chairmen, you have MPs, you have ministers. Nothing seems to be happening. And it's just very, very sad. If anything happens to Buhari, we might just have a major crisis in Nigeria. Nobody really cares. The elites don't care. And that's why they're all going up. The budget has not been passed. Is it Buhari that's stopping them from passing the budget? Nothing is just happening. The fear is, if anything happens to Buhari, power shifts from the north to the south. Of what benefit has power been in the north? Even when it was in the south, of what benefit has it been to the common man? It's just sad.
It is.
It's just a sad country. I'm even tired of being in Nigeria. I'm ashamed of being in Nigeria.
Well, that is a bit extreme. We should never be ashamed of being a national of our beloved country. But I understand your meaning and context. These kind of arguments and discussions do that to you, don't they?
Yes,
the whole matter about the analysis that first Reverend Dominic and now Ayo have highlighted, and you yourself indicated in your last response before coming here, it's depressing. It's depressing that we're not thinking of the country. It's not the country that is the center forward of everything, but these other permutations, calculations, albeit secret.
Yes, is it because basically there has been too much power at the center, too much executive power? Why we concede to the fact that there are government right from local government level to presidency, but it's been established that the president of Nigeria is one of the most powerful presidents in the world.
Yeah, that has been said.
Has been said. And the essence of that is for you to understand that after the Almighty God is the president and whatever he chooses to do. And that is why you see that so much agitation, so much concern about who occupies that office. And that's why, you know, many a times we've seen that we're beginning to call for, let's talk about restructuring of this country. Let's talk about the amendment of the Constitution. Let's determine what the fate of the nation called Nigeria should be. Decentralized power. Too much of power at the center. And that is why we're all talking about sickness of an individual, which any other person can fall sick, becomes a major issue. Not that person, not the man called Muhammadu Buhari, but the office.
The office.
And as far as Nigerians are concerned, they perceive that the office is sick.
Okay, one moment. In fact, our last caller, Mr. not Alekwe, Anekwe. Is that Mr. Anekwe in the UK?
Yeah.
Good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Exactly. Good morning, Yori.
Good morning.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you in the UK?
Let me go straight to my point.
Sure.
You see, I'm all right. I'm all right. Let me go straight because you don't give much time. You see, it irritates me when I see people calling Babangida, Abu Saddam, and even Obasanjo. It irritates me. I don't know why people like that should be parading themselves as good Nigerians. They should go and sit down and enjoy the money they have embezzled. Remember, Babangida was the richest president that the magazine, Ebony magazine, declared Babangida as the richest fourth president in the whole Africa. Remember 1985? That was why the whole student went on strike. I was in Nigeria by then. Why is he talking about Buhari? He should go and die at Niger State where he is. Let him go to blessings. We don't want him. We don't want Obasanjo. We don't want Abu Saddam. Let them go focus from their way. We don't want them.
All right,
Let me tell you,
Mr.
Buhari
Nekwe
is our man. He is going to survive, whether they like it or not.
Amen.
Everybody
Thank you very much, Mr. Nekwe. Really appreciate you, but we completely run out of time. But we did get the gist of your message and your goodwill for the president. Although you said some things in there that we can't substantiate, but we understand your contribution. And we've completely run out of time. Thank you, gentlemen, for sort of giving your perspectives on why things are the way they are. We just wish the president well, and thanks to the First Lady for calling in to, correct the statements out in the press there, that what she had said, what she had tweeted was that my husband is not as bad as is being perceived. I'll be back tomorrow, God willing, for a fresh edition of the program. I'm Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.